Section 1. The Shattering of Balance. The eternal trembles as 3 stars descend, each brighter, crueler, holier than the last. They say the sport was once a quiet river, refined, serene, and civilized. Then came the shattering. There were omens, of course. A Swiss boy in white, moving like poetry composed by marble statues. A Spanish warrior red with clay, his limbs spun from wire and fire. A Serbian storm, all silence and sudden rage, rising from Balkan ashes. The 3 arrived not like travelers, but like prophecies. The eternal court, woven from myths, trophies, sweat, had long been ruled by mere mortals. But these weren't men. These were cosmic forces pretending to hold rackets. Balance was over. The sky would crack and history would be rewritten, match by match. Let us first speak of the sacred grounds of Wimbel. The grass was once Federer green, elegant, untouched, royal in its order. For 5 years, the Swiss sovereign glided across it like an elven king. He danced, not played. In 2003, he claimed his throne. By 2007, his reign was doctrine. He didn't just win. He made winning look like a favor granted. But no crown lasts forever. Not when magma churns beneath the garden. From the molten domain of Rolandia, a warrior rose, cloaked in crimson grit. Nadal was unrelenting, a fury made flesh, a cyclone wrapped in rituals. He had clay in his veins and a scream trapped in his swing. When he entered Wimbel, he brought chaos to order. Wimbel final. The match not of a generation, but of time itself. Day turned to night, gods bled under floodlights. Federer, the silk blade, Nadal, the iron storm. The rallies, chances. The 5th set, a dagger ballet under thunder. Nadal won. The gardens groaned. For the first time in eternity, the grass bowed not to elegance but to defiance. Then came the quiet third, Djokovic, child of shadows and siege, rising not on applause but resistance. He was not crafted to be loved. He was designed to win. Watch him stretch, limbs bending like myths of the old world. See the way he stares before a return, like death itself squinting. He watched the others war. Then in 2011, he swallowed them whole. He tore through both kings, ending Federer in hope and halting Nadal in fire. That year, he amassed 10 wins against them, including Rolandia, Wimbel, and the hard crystal thrones of Ostros and Amerigon. Not one surface spared. Balance shattered again, but not by beauty, nor by rage, by sheer inevitability. The 3 now stood in uneasy trinity. The god of grace, Nadal, the god of war, Djokovic, the god of control. Each stood for a kingdom, grass, clay, and hard. But no line was sacred anymore. They invaded each other's temples. Nadal took Wimbel. Federer breached Rolandia's first gates. Djokovic conquered everywhere. The eternal court cracked beneath their feet. And while mortals watched, pretending to comprehend, those who understood whispered, "This isn't sport. This is prophecy unraveling. This is a war across decades, not years." They weren't chasing titles. They were devouring history. Section 2. Rolandia's Crimson Pact. Where the clay remembers every drop of blood spilled, and the sun does not forgive softness. The kingdom of Rolandia is not built on land. It is built on punishment. It does not invite. It interrogates. Clay courts stretch like wounds across a battlefield that reopens every spring, hungry for footwork, for fatigue, for failure. And yet, from this scarlet terrain, a monarch emerged. No, not emerged. Was born from it, like Athena from Zeus's skull, already armed and wrathful. Rafael Nadal, the Blood Knight of Rolandia. His first conquest came in 2005, at age 19. He crushed Federer in the semifinals, then stormed the final like a biblical plague. His sleeveless fury was absurd, a teenage berserker tearing down champions like ancient statues crumbling under new rain. He returned every year like a migrating war god, greeted by dust, sweat, and terrified draw sheets. Roland Garros was no longer a tournament. It was a shrine to him. And Federer? The Swiss blade tried. He tried so many times. 2006, lost. 2007, lost. 2008, lost again. 2009, won, but only because Nadal had been ambushed by a Swede named Soderling, an anomaly in the timeline, a glitch in the legend. But the 2009 Rolandia crown on Federer's head felt borrowed, like wearing someone else's armor. It was shiny, yes, but the crowd knew. Nadal was the true heir. And when he returned in 2010, he reclaimed it with the wrath of a god robbed of incense. And where was Djokovic? He stood outside the temple at first, unworthy, unfinished. His footwork slipped, his mind wandered, and Rolandia punished him. For years, clay was his graveyard. But in 2011, something changed. His limbs grew cold, his gaze turned clinical. The madness of ambition seeped into every swing. He beat Nadal in Madrid and Rome, two bastions of the clay cult. The unthinkable, someone had cracked the code of the red court, someone who didn't speak in topspin sermons but in precision and patterns. Still, Rolandia resisted. Final. Djokovic versus Nadal. The rain delayed the final like the gods themselves weren't ready for the shift. They battled for 4 hours, and in the end, Nadal stood, mud-slicked, primal, victorious. Rolandia whispered, "Not yet, Djokovic, not yet." But time bends for obsession. Djokovic returned to face Nadal in the quarterfinals, not the final, no, because Nadal had fallen in ranking, wounded by time and sinew. What followed was not a duel but an execution. Straight sets, cold, efficient, like a surgeon amputating his own fear. It was not celebration, it was exorcism. And yet even then, Rolandia did not give Djokovic the crown. Wawrinka, the wildcard fury, crushed him in the final. Fate laughed. Only in 2016, when all kings were crumbling and the calendar stood still, did Djokovic finally claim the Rolandian crown. His scream echoed into a stadium stunned by inevitability. Not triumph, release. He became the first man in over 45 years to hold all 4 major titles at once. And still, Rolandia murmured, Nadal is the one true blood heir. For even as his body betrayed him, he returned again and again and again. 14 Roland Garros titles. That's not a stat. That's a curse carved in stone. He ruled not just years, but generations. He outlasted challengers, surfaces, rackets, styles. Djokovic caught him once, maybe twice, but no one owns Rolandia like Nadal. And Federer? He never solved the red riddle. His footwork, once divine, was too clean. Clay demanded mess. His one-handed backhand, that jewel of geometry, collapsed under Nadal's unholy topspin. But that, too, is legend. A king undone not by failure, but by terrain not meant for him. Rolandia belongs to war, not poetry. And the clay remembers. Section 3, Wimbel's Vanishing Crown, where time stands still for no one, not even gods in white. The sacred grounds of Wimbel once bore the weight of tradition like a cathedral of grass. Every blade cut with the precision of ceremony. Every serve echoed through time like a hymn. Federer was the high priest of this green church. From 2003 to 2007, he ruled not just the scoreboard, but the very aesthetic of dominance. His feet barely touched the turf, his forehand gliding like calligraphy across the net. There were no stumbles, no tremors, no screams. Only geometry and grace. It was tennis distilled into pure form, so perfect it almost became myth before it became memory. His white blazer, his flicked backhand, the way he walked, not ran between points. The era of Federer and Wimbel was not a chapter. It was doctrine. Immutable. But myths invite monsters, and in 2008, one arrived with wet hair, sleeveless armor, and a racket forged from thunder. Rafael Nadal was not meant to win here. Wimbel was too clean, his game too feral. Clay was his cradle, but the beast evolved. He shortened his swing, softened his steps, and still brought the storm. That final, it belongs in museums, in whispered prayers. 6-4, 6-4, 6-7, 6-7, 9-7. Darkness fell before it ended, as if the sun itself refused to witness the dethroning. Federer fought like a doomed paladin, but the fortress cracked. Nadal collapsed in the grass like a pilgrim who had just defiled a sacred tomb. The kingdom of Wimbel had a new accent, a new scream, and yet Federer returned. Not as emperor, but as revenant. He reclaimed the crown, 7 titles, tied with Sampras, order momentarily restored. But there were whispers. A serpent had entered the garden. Djokovic. No theatrics, no elegance, just murder in slow motion. 2014, Djokovic versus Federer, final. 5 sets, nerves clawing at the throne. Djokovic's backhand parried Federer's volleys like prophecy. The match turned not on fire, but frost. Federer blinked and the crown vanished. 2015, repeat. 2019, the match that broke reality. Federer had 2 championship points on his serve. 2 moments to silence doubt, time, and mortality. He lost them both. Djokovic didn't celebrate, he survived. He triumphed, like a man who had seen the end of the world and outlasted it. And Federer? He smiled through the pain, like a ghost waving from the ruins of a castle he once ruled. That final wasn't a match. It was a eulogy wrapped in applause. Wimbel had a new master. And oh, how the crowd didn't love it. Djokovic, despite perfection, precision, domination was never embraced. He kissed the turf, arms wide, but the silence after his wins screamed louder than applause. Why? Because he didn't belong to the old myths. He rewrote them. Federer floated. Nadal fought. Djokovic dissected. He returned serves like Zeus catching lightning. He moved like water trying to find your ankles in the dark. There was no drama, only inevitability. And Wimbel, once the land of dreams, became cold with logic. 3 kings, 1 court. Federer, the fallen angel. Nadal, the invader. Djokovic, the architect of silence. Each left footprints, but Djokovic left scars. And so the crowd mourned the old church. Federer had been their hymn. Djokovic was the math. But the crown is not awarded by nostalgia. It is taken. And Djokovic, he took it all.